Hi, this is Michelle from minimadesigns.com, and today I'm going to tell you about one of my most favorite plugins. It's called Gravity Forms, and it's a robust contact form that you can extend to do things like add people to your newsletter list and even sell simple products. Now, it's a premium plugin, which means that you'll have to purchase it. I recommend that you either get the business or developer version of the plugin. Either one will allow you to add an add-on to your contact form, enabling people to opt in. I'll show you how to do that in just a few minutes. I've already purchased this plugin, so I'm going to go ahead and add it. Underneath Plugins on the left-hand menu, I'm going to click Add New, click on Upload, and then I'm going to choose the file. Now, I've saved the zip file to a plugins folder on my desktop, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that and click Open. I'm going to click Install, and then click Activate Plugin. That's going to go ahead and install and activate the plugin. So now we have to make some setting modifications. Now you may have noticed when I activated Gravity Forms, a new navigation item called Forms shows up in the left-hand menu. I'm going to click on Forms and then click on Settings. This again is a premium plugin. Typically with a premium plugin, you're going to get a license key that you're going to insert so that you can activate upgrades and support. I've already pasted this to my clipboard, so I'm going to go ahead and put in the support license. I'm not going to touch anything else yet. And then I'm going to go down and click Save Settings to save the changes. So now we're ready to create our first contact form. I'm going to scroll up, and on the left-hand menu here, I'm going to click New Form. A little pop-up's going to come up that's going to invite me to give a title and description to my form. I'm going to call this one Contact. I'm not going to put a description. I can do that later if I want to. And then I'm going to click Create Form. This is going to take me to the form editing page. Now, all my options that I could ever want are going to be on the right-hand side. I know this is a pretty basic contact form to start out, and I'm going to want name, email, and a little message box so someone can write me a note. The first thing I'm going to want to add is the person's name. So underneath Advanced Fields here on the right-hand side, I'm going to click Name, and that's going to add a first and last name box over here on the form editing screen. Next, I'm going to want someone's email, so I'm going to click Email, and it'll add that option. And then I want to have a little box where someone can write me a message. So I go up here to Standard Fields over here on the right-hand side, and I'm going to click Paragraph Text. Now that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and see if we need to modify any of these settings. I'm happy with first and last name, and I'm happy with email. One quick thing I like to do, I like to make email required. So I'm going to hover over this and click the arrow, and I'm going to get additional options. And if I scroll down a little bit here, you see where it says required. So that's going to be a required field. Someone will have to fill this out in order to submit the form. Now, whenever I make a change like this, I like to make sure that I click Update Form, make sure I don't lose any of my settings. So that's going to update. And then down below here, I've got that message box. Well, I'd like to change it from saying untitled to give the user some sort of direction. So again, I'm going to expand that arrow. And you see where it says field label and it says untitled? Well, I'm going to say send me a message and then click Update Form. Now that we've got our form created, let's go ahead and modify our notification settings. Underneath Form Settings up top here, I'm going to click on Notifications. Next, I'm going to click Edit underneath Admin Notification, and I'm going to make my changes here. Let's just say, for example, that I have multiple contact forms, or maybe somebody else is answering my email. I'll want to make sure that the contact form gets sent to that particular person. On this page, we're going to change some of those settings. This first one here is the send to email. This is the actual address where the contact form gets submitted. By default, it's going to go to your admin. I know I want to change that, so I'm going to go ahead and clear this box and just put an info@ address. Go ahead and put that. Great. So that's where the email is going to be sent to. Next, I want to modify some of the submission settings. The from name, I want to make the person's actual name. So when I click this arrow here, I get the option to put the first name and then the last name that the person fills out. Next is the from email. I'm going to go ahead and clear out what's there and change that to be the person's email. Then the reply to is the email that the reply will be sent to. So when I get the contact form in, I can simply click reply. So I want to make sure it's the person's email. So underneath this arrow here, I'm going to again click email. Now you can also do some other changes here. You can BCC, you can change the subject, you can even change the fields that are displayed in the contact form. But by default, it's all fields. That's usually all you'll need. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down and click Update Notification. Okay, we've got the notification set. There's one more thing I want to modify, and that's the confirmation. If you look over on the left here, we can go ahead and click on confirmations. And this is the default message that gets sent once someone submitted the form. So if you're happy with what it is, you can leave it, or you can actually go here and click edit. Okay, now that we've created the form, we're ready to add it to our page. Over here on the left-hand side, I'm going to click on pages, and then I'm going to edit my contact page. Now, the cool thing about Gravity Forms is that it creates a button here for you that you can easily add your form to your website. So I'm going to click Add Form, and maybe you've got multiple forms. We only have the one form, so we're going to go ahead and select Contact, and I'm going to turn off the form title and display description. I don't need it. I'm going to go ahead and click Insert Form, clicking Update, and then I'm going to view the page. And there we go. There is my contact form ready and waiting for me. Great. That's our basic contact form, but what if we want to add a box that allows people to instantly opt into our newsletter? Well, let's go ahead and modify that next. Remember when I said that Gravity Form had certain add-ons that extended its functionality? Well, this particular client uses Mailchimp for their newsletter. So there's a Mailchimp add-on that we need to add to our plugin list. I've already installed it, so I'm going to go back to my plugins and activate it. Great, now we're ready to go. First thing I'm going to do is go back to the form that we created earlier. I'm going to go back to my forms, and I'm going to edit. Now we need to add a couple of boxes that will allow people to opt into the newsletter. So I'm going to go over here to the right-hand side, and I'm going to select radio buttons. That's going to add radio buttons at the bottom here. I'm going to navigate to open it up, and I'm going to change the field label to say, I would like to receive the Zen Strength newsletter. I'm going to give my options as yes or no. I'm going to delete the third option because we don't need it. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this required. So someone's going to have to answer this in order to submit the form. Clicking Update Form will save my changes. Just a couple more steps and we'll be ready to go. Next, we're going to go to set our Mailchimp settings. So underneath Forms, I'm going to click on Mailchimp, and I need to configure my Mailchimp settings. So I'm going to click there, and we're going to need our API key. And if you use Mailchimp, this is documented on their site as to how to get this key. I've already copied it to my clipboard, so I'm going to go ahead and paste it in here and click Save Settings. Great. Now I can go back to Mailchimp, and I can configure my feed. So I'm going to go ahead and create a feed. And I'm going to select a list, and I know I want it to be the main list. And the form, I'm going to select my contact form, and then it's going to automatically populate fields for me. So I want to say my email address is email. I want to enable the opt condition. And then what this is going to do is export the person's name to Mailchimp if this field is set to yes. So if I would like to receive the newsletter is set to yes, it will automatically add that person to the newsletter list. I'm going to go ahead and keep this the double opt-in, which means they need to confirm their choice and then click Save. Okay, that's set. I'm going to go back and look at my contact form. I'm going to refresh the page. And there it is, down at the bottom. I would like to receive the newsletter. You can see the little asterisk means that it's required. People can choose that and then click Submit. So great. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you'd like additional tutorials or information about WordPress, come visit me at minimadesigns.com.